So to start, I would like to thank everyone, first of all, for just joining us in this space tonight. My name is Nia McAllister, and I am the Visitor Experience Manager at the Museum of the African Diaspora in San Francisco. And as we gather here tonight, I always want to start these events with acknowledging the time that we're living in. MOAD stands in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, as there are multiple pandemics that are killing us, including the ongoing systemic violence against Black people. We honor and mourn the senseless murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Tony McDade, and so many others who have lost their lives at the hands of police brutality and racial injustice, including those names that we do not know. We also wish to acknowledge and wish resilience upon Jacob Blake, who remarkably, despite of being nearly killed by 7 targeted police bullets in an ongoing act of white supremacist terror exacted by the state, he has survived. Also, in light of the recent updates regarding Breonna Taylor's case, we continue the fight and call for real justice. Also, before we begin tonight's event, I want to acknowledge the spaces that we're occupying. Though we are gathering virtually, many of us are settlers, immigrants, or descendants of those forcibly brought to this continent. So our institutions were founded upon exclusions and erasures of the indigenous peoples whose lands we are located on. It is with deep respect that MOAD acknowledges that even in a virtual space, our people, our work, our network servers are all on native lands. And so we thank the indigenous people of the Bay Area and beyond who have stewarded this land throughout generations. And I know for many people, including myself, this has just been an ongoing, tense and draining time to be living in. And so I want to acknowledge that this is a space to recognize our grief, our anger, our exhaustion, but also to seek comfort and joy in each other's company. And so all are welcome in this space, and it is of the utmost importance that we center respect and continue to create spaces that amplify Black voices. And so with that, I am so grateful to be in community with all of you and to find healing through art. So for those of you who are new, or for those of us who are returning to this space, I do ask that throughout this event, everyone does keep their microphones on mute unless you are the person speaking. However, because open mics are very interactive and affirmations are always important, I do encourage people to both use the chat function, please respond to people's lines that stand out to you, give affirmations. Air snaps and claps are also extremely welcome. I think it's important that we continue to uplift each other and each other's art and craft, especially in this time. And so thank you to those who signed up in advance to read at tonight's open mic. The lineup is set. I will be posting that in the chat in just a second. So all readers have 4 minutes, and I will introduce each reader beforehand. The flow of tonight's event will be the first half of our open mic readers, and then we have our featured artist tonight, Avotcja, who will perform in the middle, and then we'll close out the event with our remaining open mic readers. And I would also like to thank Art Bridges for their generous support that we've received to help continue our dynamic programming at MOAD. And so with that, I'm going to be posting the lineup in the chat, and I'd like to invite our first reader tonight, Landon Smith, up to the mic.
How's it going? How's it going? Torn fibers on a flag spark outrage of ideology. No North Star in the corner to look up to, just bars. There's blood in between. One-sided fables became history somehow. My resilience you award means I had to endure you in the first place. I can't be belittled and be the bigger person at the same time. We're all political prisoners. Some of us are just free range. Watching torn fibers tear into toddler tantrums absent of self-worth, who are you without a knee on the neck? Red lining built into the fabric, shadow boxing leather goodbyes packed in soil, veils mask an early departure from crop-dusted communities. Intentionally poisoned before the chemtrails, to be Black is to be a conspiracy anticipator. Uncovered another plot for extermination in the cereal box. Kids don't stay innocent for long. Fireworks on the west side shattering sound barriers, triggering trauma from triggers kids were never meant to see. Terror dome warfare tactics on the red line, convenient place for a freeway. Property tax discrimination written in the codes. Sally Hemings cries muted by the blueprint. I see red lines running. City plans pledged allegiance long before we were forced to. Stare at the fabric now. Torn fibers printed on cotton morality measurement that's the allegiance truly shows. Expendable products fighting to be immortal. Staring at stars that died long ago, but we still see. Pattern pathogens infused to control, don't stare too long. Lines start to blur. There's blood showing now. Cross-stitched tight enough to heroify pedophilic human traffickers over a parchment signature declaring false truth. Cognition fractured in a hymn, tainted bloodlines. Leather cuts smell like cigarettes and contradiction deafened by Harley engines. Definition of America found in the bottom of a Kool-Aid cup. Guillotine bars brand patriotism to the binary binders. Folded triangles in slow motion meant to represent something other than empire. I guess the orders followed abroad freed my fingers domestically somehow. Under surveillance by tear gas canisters and tanks crushing keyboards and futures. Simplicity sees evil in difference. Control can't billy club an IQ to silence. Beheading is the only option. Indoctrination stamps on gendered lunch pails packed with denial and falsification. Kids don't stay innocent for long. Place your heart on your hand now. There's blood showing now. The margins seem to be filled with people cast aside to confined spaces being told to be the bigger person. Oxymoronic decrees declared from the smell of paranoia paint lacquered onto policies passed under the cover of midnight flag pins in Capitol hallways. Feet shuffling from tiled hallways, gripping sweaty palms, pushing buttons afraid of what retaliation looks like. Eugenics formalized into government policy and state line fractures. Turner Diaries distribution to terrorists taking up arms against imaginary pyromaniacs. Empowered by poisoned police pyramids and attorney general soul selling. Not sure if we'll make it out of this future case study with lungs intact. Pandemic poisoning, working class human sacrifices, breathing toxic emissions from capitalistic debilitating decimation, inhaling tear gas, paid for by city budgets and tech company slush funds through backdoor donations, propping up genocide for stock options and public offering. Not sure if we'll make it out. Not sure of what spirit to call since white Jesus was clasped on wrist in a shack church glowing from a burning cross and a church bomb. Stolen like wounds in concentration camps while UN hands stay tied. Down bottom death camps recycling rises to power for fear mongers and IQ destitution. Echoing in hallways from shuffling feet drowning out screams from margins. Oxymoronic existence of minimized grandiosity ripping apart insides and tearing apart families like barbed wire on flesh. We have no body left. All we are is an idea within a theory with a flag and a constitution baked in blood, tobacco, sugar, and cotton fibers rewritten to be large in margins resembling burial plots. Not sure if eugenics precedent can be pulled from tiled hallways and step and fetch tap dance shoes. Fatigue filling the lungs of an oxymoron fighting for freedom, bathing in air unsafe to breathe and tear gas blankets. Thank you.
Thank you, Landon. Thank you so much for that piece and for setting the tone and starting us that way. Your way of documenting history and our living history now is incredible. Thank you. Next up to the mic, I would like to invite Kufikiri Imara. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, Nia. I'm glad to be here. A piece that I honestly wasn't sure if it was the one I was going to do, but I figured I'd lean into that. I'm not one who often titles my pieces just so that the audience can receive it as is, as whole. And so with that, hot, hot, hot. Hot like black breasts feeding white babies. Hot. Hot like Haitian summers when backs refuse to bend anymore. Hot. Hot like the bullet from a cop's gun in the cold body of a black child. Hot. Hot like the anger of parents burying their child. Hot. Hot like the breath of angry dogs on taut leashes. Hot. Hot like the crowded prison cells of injustice. Hot. Hot like the flames of a burning cross. Hot. Hot like rope burn on the neck of a swinging body. Hot. Hot like human cargo ships with water all around, but not a drop to drink. Hot. Hot like black southern churches set ablaze. Hot. Hot like flesh split open from the whip. Hot. Hot like emancipated manhood when the mother of your child is carrying the masses, baby. Hot. Hot like congested urban living designed with no way out alive. Hot. Hot like the sweat on your brow when you're working sun up to sundown. Hot. Hot like feeling in your gut when your starving children look to you for something to eat. Hot. Hot like necks in church trying to get saved on Sunday after sinning on Saturday. Hot. Hot like a year of letting the bus pass you by so you can walk everywhere. Hot. Hot like blood running down your face when you didn't walk fast enough. Hot. Hot like dinner counters when staying seated is taking a stand. Hot. Hot like the hot comb and the chemicals used to look the part. Hot. Hot like a people when their leaders are murdered. Hot. Hot like a city when justice is bought and sold. Hot. Hot like venomous words spit on you for being the first. Hot. Hot like the soles of feet that have marched for miles. Hot. Hot like the spotlight of the world's eyes upon you. Hot. Hot like horns blowing songs about truths that can't be spoken. Hot. Hot like the back door when you can't walk in the front. Hot like kitchens when the hands preparing the food only get the scraps. Hot. Hot like the revolutions that changed the world. Hot. Hot. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that piece. And I'm glad that you felt that pull to read that tonight. I think that was what we needed to hear. Thank you. Next up, we have Uniqua Simmons. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here again. Peace and blessings. So this piece is untitled, but I just want to speak about the isms. I see the petty lines of reality, the lines that try to justify me. Isms, 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 isms. Racism, socialism, monoism, ageism, sexism, classism. Let me express about the autism. We flow in, we flow out, we flow all around because we all about. You see me, you think you do. There's more of me inside of me. Described like a spectrum, a rainbow, a light, We be pushing through, and sometimes it's a plight. The struggles, the successes, uneasiness, complexes. You see me, you think you do, there's more of me inside of me. I speak, I clap, I clap, I clap, I clap, I clippity clap. I might be jumping around. I'm not feeling trapped right now. You ask, is he high functioning? What does that even mean? I'm up, I'm down, I'm high, I'm low. Don't sleep on it. Oh, you think I'm slow? You see me, you think you do. There's more of me inside of me. So that was the end of that. That's actually, again, another excerpt. I wanted to read something else, but I wanted to share something based on some experiences of this week. I am an autism mom, and I just want to share and express to everyone, if you don't know someone with autism or have a family member, just reach out and read about it. I believe in each one, teach one to reach one. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that piece. Next up, we have Larry Moore. Welcome, Larry.
Peace and good evening. I also was not sure exactly what I was gonna do. Everybody's kind of set the tone, so I think I'll do two pieces. This first one was written for a young man in Des Moines that at one point took his girlfriend's life and then took his own life after being incarcerated for much of his life. So this is just another brown boy poem. Means this poem might even be as many as 20 odd summers old and still be brown boy in its big golden brown heart. You see, when you put a brown boy poem in a box at 17, put the heat on hell. Don't be surprised when it's done on the outside, but the inside still need to cook. Don't be surprised at how black a brown boy poem acts, because it has been in a box with other brown boy poems and all they know how to do is harbor heat. They have been washed in fire. So don't be surprised when brown boy poems are brittle and easy to break. Don't be surprised that after they crack, it is far too easy to shatter them on the pavement. And all that is ever done is a blatant sweeping of the brown boy pieces into different kinds of boxes. The only place they ever want to see brown boy poems is in boxes, doesn't matter what kind of box it is. So don't be surprised when brown boy poems are always looking to get free. Any means necessary. And we will do one more. I teach middle school, and I've been talking to a lot of my educators, and this pandemic thing, it's hard on all of us. And I think, we forget as teachers just how hard it can be on our young people. So this is a poem for my students. If this were a poem for my students, it would be loud. It would stroll through the door a few minutes late with the smell of the best excuses mixed with breakfast on its breath. It would use purple rain clouds and pastry tubes to decorate the high-rise landscape of coffee mugs with ice cubes as windows, because my students are cool and hyper as hell, but most importantly, unfathomably cool, which is why a poem for them would also knit its own blankets. Because regardless of the cool and what they tell you, they miss being young sometimes. They have forgotten how to be warm instead of being hot too fast. So maybe my poem would crochet them something light, as not to intimidate their independence. And then the words would lie them down to sleep, educate their minds to keep. And if they fall before they graduate, I pray that this poem would find them, because a poem for my students would have an engine and a steering wheel, because sometimes they need to be picked up and sometimes they need to be picked up. So a poem for them would smile a sunshine bright hug, but still wouldn't take any excuses for answers. The poem would have a megaphone, and it would have the phrases, "Be brave and get free," programmed in 1,000 different languages, some of them long dead, because a poem for my kids would be a history guru with slick glasses and a twang to its speech. It would wear a sundress every day. It would be a white mom, brown dad, light dad, darker mother. It would be a revolving door with a sign that said, "Just keep walking, kid." And a poem for them would spit them out in front of a microphone, adjust the stand. It would tell them children are supposed to be seen and heard and loved and helped. And it would tell them to speak, adjust the microphone, tell them to speak boldly, openly, put their minds on the launch pad, because a poem for my beautiful students would have a fuse. When you light a poem for my kids, they all combust, sprout sparks, and fly towards the next galaxy, netting stars as they soar, the haste of the light barrier in their wake. A poem for my students would give them bouquets of pretty hope with supernovas as rose petals every morning when they get out of bed. And my students would love it because they know that the truest kind of truth, to them I say, young people, get free. Peace. Mr. Larry Moore.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those pieces, and thank you for being an educator now and always. I think, as everyone is saying, that this poem just hits home to a lot of us. And so we appreciate the work that you're doing. Thank you. Next up, I would like to invite Zakiyyah G.E. Capehart. Welcome, Zakiyyah.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
Thank you. Thank you, Nia, for holding this space for us, and greetings to everyone. I have two poems this evening. My first is entitled MRI, My Reasonable Imagination. Am I a misfit, a propped up mannequin, a muffled woman, a black doll, a silent observer, a speechless participant, an innocent bystander, or an unenthusiastic gopher? During my confinement in this prison, I imagine how relieving it will be when I am free, free to move around, free to speak, free to laugh, free to cry, free to think about more than escaping from this physical and mental confinement. In my seclusion, my reasonable imagination keeps me from thoughts I consider unreasonable. Thoughts of me screaming until the volume of my screams shatter and crumble the walls of this transparent prison that cripples me. Thoughts I am being transported to a different place and time. And in this place, I will be embraced, not rejected. I will be loved, not hated. I will have peace, not war. I will have equality, not injustice and racism. I will have truth, not lies. I will have freedom, not imprisonment or the illusion of freedom. Pondering, I realize these are indeed reasonable thoughts. So I embrace all of my thoughts. My reasonable imagination acknowledges and understands this 6 by 12 by 12 cardboard box is symbolic and coincides to the space I inhabit here on planet Earth. My next piece I wrote on the day that I thought perhaps it was an end to Babylon. Our day of being orange all day long. This piece is entitled California Burning. Orange peered through my blinds, luring me out of bed. Approaching the window, dreading, wondering what would be behind them. Parting the blinds, I finally found the fortitude to pursue. Looking out my window, seeing orange everywhere, bewildered, bewitched. I didn't know what to do. I had never woke up to an orange sky instead of blue. Thank you.
Thank you, Zakiyyah. Thank you for that last piece. I think that captured the eerie feeling that a lot of us here in the Bay and across California were experiencing that day. Quite surreal.
Yes, you're welcome.
Next up to the mic, we have Nana Boateng. Welcome.
Amazing. Yeah, it's so amazing to be in this space with everyone and just feel so energized. I think especially now more than ever by your words and yeah, just seeing your faces. I'm gonna try to share 2 poems, so let's see how that goes. The first poem that I have is called Nike Shadow. Memorialized. Shoes knotted and tossed to the moon land, sagging on a black electrical line between stiffening bilaterals, rocking heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. You're gonna wanna buy the cleaner. She says, keep them white, as the total rings 6429. Red checks, sagittal, a clean split down my corn toe, a double guarantee, like index to thumb, cocked and released, sparks imagined flint. And when they're certain it needs to be done, they'll just do it. Even toothy, wide, jagged rubber soles plaque from crumbles of gravel. They don't catch like metal corkscrews 1,000 miles per hour to nestle into blackened fat or recognize how bodies jigsaw past, elbows tucked, then breaststroke out to adjust. Lopsided, the white leather lotus around my feet catches my shadow burnt by the sun. My next poem is called Hush Little Baby. And there's just an epigraph from Farnoosh Fatih. The poem is kind of like written after her poem called Jimmy Crack Corn and I Don't Care. And this poem is kind of about reimagining life into yourself. So I'm just gonna start off with the epigraph. They want our secret without becoming like. They want our secret to undo. Jimmy Crack Corn and I Don't Care. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Hums down a brassed gullet and down the coiled cavity of your ear. Sealed, crusted, down by crystallized wax, a concaving stalagmite flaking zigzag. Hush, little baby, dried rays will dangle like detached sinew from marrow towards your toes and lick citrus into your print, digitizing each. These lines will be glazed in stolen gold and edged off, polished off. It's okay, baby, 'cause We going off to fly a kite up into the sin-stirring atmosphere, to watch our fingers and toes constellate 240 billion times. Don't let your eyes be a kaleidoscope. They'll fail and liquefy in awe. 'Cause down here, baby, down here, you gotta get down and shimmy the looking glass past your knees, prayer hands cross chest, pennies flipped, tails on both eyelids, and hush till your last breath. I said, baby, 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 please ease it on me. Rub the tiger balm deep so I can feel the earth's molten core vibrate when I cradle your neck in the dimple of my hip. Tell me what it'll cost, baby. I want to know what it's like to come face to face with a tiger and don't let it bite you. Just enamel coated and softened with sugary, gelatinous drops to hush your cries and let each tear polyp. Baby, you could shift holy ground with your tectonic whimpers, but please, baby, don't let them hear you and empty you, empty. Thank you all.
Wow. I absolutely loved hearing your pieces, and the way that you play, like make words play with each other, is just so fun to hear. So thank you so much for sharing both of those pieces. Let's see, next up to the mic, I would like to invite Melissa Noelle. Welcome back.
Awesome, thank you. How's the audio? Is it okay?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay, beautiful. I would like to say that the poets have been so amazing and beautiful. Thank you all for sharing. I also have to give props to Larry Moore, our fellow brother teacher. It is so good to be in good company, as I am a teacher as well. And you have inspired me, as I would like to share this piece with you, called Teaching with Purpose. Some of my students have been homeless, finding unusual shelter in unpredictable places that bring new meaning to the word home, or what it means to live. Finding it challenging to do homework when there is no desk, there is no chair, or a small nook and cranny anyway. Latchkey alone soldiers holding it down until mama gets back. My students have been subjected to unbelievable worry and stress in the streets. Whether walking in the hood or riding in the back seat, streets that holler and threaten brothers and homies just for being who they are or just simply being discreet. Hungry because there ain't nothing in the refrigerator and the stimulus check is gone. Some of my students are dealing with the impact of divorce, death, and suicidal tendencies that they have seen on social media. Some of my students have been bullied, so much so they don't look at school as a safe space anymore. If I could, I would push away all the storms overhead and bring the luminous sun closer to kiss the hearts and spirits of my students. Children who deserve to bloom like laughter and excel in a differentiated environment that's made just for them, that is made to love them through the hurt and the disappointment that life often brings. And even though the playgrounds are empty and void of the beautiful noises of children, we will find a way to caress that innocence within them while leading the way, helping them to understand that what success looks like and take ownership of not only their feelings, but of their hopes and of their dreams. developing growth mindsets that compel them to be greater than their circumstances, devoting time with them in activities that promote learning and critical thinking, redirecting them to analyze and question not only their past, but the historic past of the world, meaning, did that guy Christopher Columbus really discover America if the first nation Native Americans were already here? So what does discovery mean then? If his trial was held today, what would the Native Americans say to him? What would you say? As we go forward, building community through, above, beyond, under, around COVID-19 and struggling, and this struggling economy, always know that your teacher is here to put you on the right trajectory. We are going to celebrate every incremental victory. Your accomplishments will have a lasting liberty that will pay tribute to you throughout the rest of your life and the legacy of your humanity. Always know and believe that we love and care about you and will do everything possible to see you through. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa, for those words, the optimism, and also your work in supporting our students these days. Your work is essential. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up to the mic, I'd like to invite Kay Eltinaé. Welcome back. It's a little bit earlier for you this time. I know you're calling in from Spain. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, Nia, and thank you to all the performers for lighting up the evening here, or early morning rather. It's always lovely to hear your verses, and it's very inspirational. I mean, I live in Spain and I love it here, but it's always nice to hear poetry in English because I don't really get that opportunity a lot. So it's quite nice to be in your company. Thank you. I'm going to read two pieces. One I think I read maybe my first time here, but I wanted to maybe read it again. And another one is a new one that I've kind of come up with. It's called Mending Game. There you are standing near a pile of broken plates, caught in a still shot, smiling forever. Wonder what happened to afternoons, to grass, to songs we built kingdoms with. I'm still hiding. Even seems love gets tangled. Jogging on a painted O, raking the lawn with an E for leaves I will forget somewhere in books. Most people forget that V and L sparkle if you tilt them a bit. I wake up catching feelings in a mirror by your bed. Striding through cities, bodies erupt into saffron skies. And that was the first piece. And the second piece is a poem that I wrote that was inspired by the BLM movement and what happened in the United States over the past summer and what has been happening for the past 400 years. And the poem is called When You Find Yourself and When They Find Your Body. What they call you is dirty, dangerous, deadly, disposable, deranged. Did you come from the jungle? They ask about your lips, your hair. If people read your books down there. Did your parents fall in love first, or were they paired to breed? More mouths to feed, brown bodies surrendering, soil thick with us, them, us, them, us. Stacks. Were we created to serve, to know our place is nowhere? What you call yourself in that language, brother, are you other? You are not. a dead blank stare. Don't ever hate your skin, your hair. Please know you come from everywhere. Please forget that body, you're on the road now. No one is waiting. What's left of you is a bus. Every wheel is a person you wouldn't leave behind. Everyone on board is blindfolded and crying for their mother. Every mother is a bus stop you swerve past to get home. You call those mothers trees. You call the passengers crying wind. When police ask if your ID is valid, they mean you deserve to die. They start shooting all the passengers you carry. The police aren't safe until they torch it. They step back and watch everything you love shrinking, covered in glass and blood. We always migrate to a place where everyone is alive inside, resisting. And I don't know, do I have time to do one more, if possible? Or have I taken up the time?
You can do one more.
Okay. This last poem I actually put aside and I wasn't sure if I could read or not. Is dedicated to the enduring memory of my aunt who passed away in 2002, a little after the US had bombed the biggest pharmaceutical company in Sudan, Khartoum, and it's in memory of her. And it's called huzun. Huzun is a Turkish word which denotes sadness, but like all the different levels of sadness. And this is it. It isn't grief came out too loudly, made a few of them uncomfortable, crossing arms and feet under chairs. How do I tell them that so many words in their language rattle like cages without birds? That understanding for you is perception, and for us it springs from knowledge. Do I tell them about Mahassan, who rushed to witness my birth in a sparkling green tobe that drew too much attention at the airport? That she was scolded for it on the way to the hospital by my uncle, the baby brother she raised, who when she died only sent money for arrangements? Do I tell them how memories come in purple, red, green, and gold? The colors she wore when she lit incense and laughter throughout the house, dancing when men were not around. Do I confess we failed at consoling mother, who gave away nail polish after the funeral, cut the long, thick hair she used to sit on that never grew back? Do you call it grief when the nest you fall from disappears into the sky and your lungs collapse with the sillage of a memory that will never be done? That isn't grief for us. We call that huzun. Thank you so much for the space, and thank you for letting me read that last one.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all three, and it was so lovely hearing that dedication, that last piece. So thank you.
Thank you, Nia.
Of course. We're at that time in the evening where we're about to have our featured artist. Before we do so, I'm going to share a couple pieces and then introduce the wonderful Avotcja. So this first piece, I too was trying to figure out what to read because I did not feel prepared at all. I didn't know what I wanted to bring to the space today. So this is definitely still a work in progress, something collected. It's a collection of random fragments and lines that I've written throughout, I'd say, the last 5 to 7 months. So we'll see. We'll see what this becomes in its future versions. But for now, it's entitled, What I Know to Be True, a history in bones talking out the side of their neck. I am buried beneath a bougainvillea bush. It is 2:34 a.m. in the city that birthed you 103 years ago. My first lifeline is now somebody else's food. The forgetting begins 2 steps before the dream wakes up. And for all I know, my sibling could be the very earth I lie in. You departed just 8 years ago. And it is 40 degrees Fahrenheit in the city that ran your mother out. So I sit and watch erosion from afar. There are pincushions in my childhood closet, and my memories sleep in 2 different rooms. What came first, the silence or the suitcase? So the virus arrived as a door knocker. I suppose it's common for oceans to make arches of the rock. I am coming to tell you, we have been here before. I am coming to tell you, the revolution will come with water. So we'll see where that goes in its future versions. And then I'll do one more, one of my favorites that hopefully will bring some optimism. This is entitled Consort of the Spirits, after Ntozake Shange. There are road maps in my great-great-grandmother's braids. She keeps seeds in there too, because where we are going, home must come with us. Tell me how your mother hides spices in the hem of her skirt, tucks hymns behind her ears, and calls it packing for tomorrow. Do the women in your family hide rose water in their saliva, sage in between their thighs? Because how dare we sleep on strange land without blessing? Tell me how your sister folds indigo leaves between her toes, smuggles cotton flowers under her arms, and promises that where we are going, there will be color. There are black-eyed peas in my auntie's coin purse. She keeps moonlight in there too. Because luck is far more precious than loose change. I carry a cowrie shell in the crook of my arm. It sings when my twins are near. I wear strands of sea glass upon my ears because where we are going, there will be music. Do the women in your family wrap beeswax around their ring fingers, tuck matchsticks in their collarbones, and promise that we will never know darkness? They call this survival. But we pack what we must because what we return to may no longer be ours. They call this survival. But the body is a compass and we are each other's destination. They call this survival. But this ritual of making to leave before knowing where we're headed is how we birth futures. They call this survival. But we know better. Where there's a woman, there is magic. Thank you. And so with that, I'm very, very excited to hand over the mic and the space to our wonderful feature this evening, Avotcja. Avotcja has been published in English and Spanish in the US, Mexico, and Europe. She's an award-winning poet and multi-instrumentalist. She's a popular Bay Area DJ and radio personality and leader of the group Avotcja and Modupe, the Bay Area Blues Society Jazz Group of the Year in 2005 and 2010. Avotcja teaches creative writing and drama and is a proud member of DAMO, Disability Advocates of Minorities Organization, Penn Oakland, California Poets in the Schools, Local 1000 American Federation of Musicians, and ASCAP recording artist. Her latest book is With Every Step I Take, Torian Horn Press 2013, which is available through small press distribution. And with that, I am so excited, so excited to welcome Avotcja to our virtual stage. Thank you for being here and for featuring.
I thank you. You all have been so wonderful. I mean, it's kind of hard to speak after all of these wonderful words that have been coming from each one of you. So I'm not going to talk about too many of these because I'd much rather do the poetry. And some of these are from my book, which thanks to you guys is out of print. It's going to be reprinted hopefully soon. And I have another one that should be coming out pretty soon. It's called Pura Candela, or Oaktown Mosaic. And so anyway, without any more from me, this is called True Confessions of a Sound Junkie. I was always called a sound junkie. I've been a music nut since I was a baby. And like several other people, I'm a retired teacher. And I want to salute you, because folks don't really know just what it means to be a serious teacher that really does it because of the love rather than because of a guaranteed paycheck. And so I salute each and every one of you. Children, in fact, adults don't care how much you know, they care how much you care. And good teachers are one of the greatest treasures that we have on planet Earth. Enough of that. This is called True Confessions of a Sound Junkie. I am a bona fide sound junkie. Call me a child of music. I was created, born to the tune that called two very beautiful but incompatible dances together to make love, to make me, to the rhythmic humming of rusty bed springs. And on that night, the slippery moans and warm sweat sounds of their love dance became the song that is me. The sensuous sounds of their love dance sang me into existence. That night did not walk in softly, and neither did I. I came with all the fire and wild passion of a hurricane, and like a shy tornado, I came and heard music and the rustling of newspapers in the streets and the symphony and the sound of dripping water. Every squeaky door and leaky faucet had its song to sing. I even heard music in the dice games on the corner. I ran wild and free like the doo-wops and mambos, kaizo, calypso, boleros, gospel, bombas, sambas, blues, and jazz. Sweet, uncontrollable melodies that were everywhere, melodies that drowned the filth of city streets, but always left a place for me in the silence between their notes. And every time I thought I'd lose it, of course, the racket was more than I could stand. Spirit said, listen, 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 listen for the rhythm. Listen, it's there. Listen, all around you, there's music everywhere. Listen. Find the rhythm, listen to the rhythm, and when you become that rhythm, you'll find that noise is only a lonely sound, 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 waiting, waiting, waiting for someone who does more than just hear with their ears. Spirit said, listen. Noise ain't nothing but a lonely sound, sound, waiting, waiting, impatiently waiting, waiting, looking for a friend. And I knew that I could be that friend, that wild and crazy friend who's not afraid to grab the stage and let the people know. Noise ain't nothing but a lonely sound, waiting for a song to sing, waiting, impatiently waiting, searching for that somebody who listened long enough to make her want to sing. Someone like me, someone like you, someone that knew that noise ain't nothing but a sad and lonely sound. Sound, 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 sound. Just another naked note out there looking for some clothes. My friend Raymond Nat Turner, thank you. My friend Raymond Nat Turner is here, and he loves this poem. I wrote this for my poppy, but I also wrote it to try and pull the wool over some folks' eyes who really believe that there's such a thing as a good color or a bad color, which is the dumbest crap on planet Earth. We are the color we're supposed to be, and that is beautiful in itself. And my poppy was part of the darkest shade of that color. So this is called Poppy Was a Dancing Man, but I also dedicate it to all the other folks out there who refuse to pull this stupid game. You cannot be too light, you cannot be too dark, you just are who you are. So this is for you. Poppy was 25 shades blacker than midnight, blue black they called him. Poppy was a pretty boy, a pretty man, skin so smooth he looked like he was carved out of ebony. Poppy never just walked, he was smooth like his skin, moved like a panther, like a well-sung song. Poppy was beautiful to watch. Wore his pride like armor, like a weapon, like a shield in cities designed to make him disappear. He wore his blackness like a badge of honor. Moved through the whiteness, moved through the whiter than thou madness with the grace of greased lightning. Danced his way across stages that tried to bury him in the filth of their fear. Poppy was 25 shades blacker than midnight, the kind of unstoppable black that they couldn't hold back no matter how much they tried. Poppy was untouchable. Even when they tried to get at him by trying to get to me, he danced in their faces, on all their sacred places, and made a joke of their ignorance by stealing their shows on their stages and giving unasked for lessons on the real black power, his unshakable power, our undeniable survival power, Poppy. Say, Poppy was 25 shades blacker than midnight, 25 times blacker than was tolerable by terrified white folks, by immaculate Negro jet setters. He had too bad to be so confident, too African looking to be so proud, too loud to be so arrogant, too black, or so they said. But even when black was a never to be spoken word, they couldn't stop his beauty when Poppy smiled. I mean, like when Poppy smiled, when he smiled, even the wind held its breath, and even while all the foolish tongues rattled, he danced. He danced and spread his blackness across the whiteness of the stolen land, and he danced and he danced and he danced and he danced and kept holding my hand, held on real tight till I was strong enough to see the light and write this poem. Poppy was 25 shades blacker than midnight, blacker than midnight, blacker than midnight, blacker than midnight. So that's for my Poppy and all the good Poppies out there, because we don't, I mean, it's a stupid game that gets played. But anyway, you know, one of the things, the first time I came in contact, I was at I forget what it was called, something for the Museum of the African Diaspora, and a woman who was working there, she brought in several flyers, and one was on Black Mexico. And folks don't realize that whole history, because you think about people like Nat Turner, etc. And there were Nat Turners, wherever there was slavery, there were rebellions. And Mexico's Nat Turner was called Janga. So this is called Estampas de Janga. During colonial times in Mexico, unspeakable times, when the powers that be have tried to erase from time Africans far outnumbered Europeans, and to this day you can see Africa's footprints everywhere. In 1609, after many fierce rebellions, Gaspar Janga founded the first free African township in the Americas, a town that now bears his name and still exists today, a town his descendants can no longer afford to live in. But if you're listening, you can't miss his legacy. Everywhere you turn your eyes, you'll find beautiful indigenous people playing marimba and marimbola. You can hear it in the wordplay of the son jarocho. You can't miss it in Mexicans playing African hand pianos in the streets. Feel it in the poetic percussive melodies of the mariachi and the wild rhythmic ecstasy of la raspa. See it in the intricate transplanted footwork of dancers in Cuilapa, in the state of Guerrero, in Tabasco and Veracruz, where proud African ghosts never stop singing and continue to sing through indigenous mouths. Estos son los regalos de la gente afroamericana, un legado interminable, ecos visibles en las estampas de Janga. These are the gifts of the African Mexican people, in an unending legacy, visible echoes of the stamps of Janga. And with that, we go here. Okay, let's get you back here. This is called Listen to the Rain. A beautiful little rainforest in Puerto Rico, which was destroyed by Maria. It turned it into like splinters. I mean, you see, if you fly over Puerto Rico right now, you'll see green, and people say, oh, it'll grow back. It's a rainforest, takes thousands of years to grow. It broke my heart. I wrote this for it before it was reduced to 20. It's called Listen to the Rain. And I apologize to folks. I got some emails. Folks thought I was going to be bringing my rain stick and my instruments, but Zoom has not worked that all out yet. So you need to come to a gig when we get out of this madness, and you can see what I do. But anyway, it's called Listen to the Rain, and hopefully I'll take you to the rainforest. It's in Spanglish, but you get the message. El yunque, jardín de esperanza donde vive el alma boricua, el alma de la perla del Caribe, el señor gringo. He always listens, but never hears the music of El Yunque. Too busy, always rushing, running, taking, breaking, always taking, but never taking time enough to listen to the rain, to hear her sacred song, to feel the magic, the magic. Ay, El Yunque gritando sangre de las flores del llanto del coquí. They came. I said they came suffering acute gringoitis of the bank account. They will never know El Yunque is more than just another rainforest, more than a beautiful tourist trap, more than just one more romantic locale, with more great potential for the cultural expansion of McDonald's bulletproof hamburgers. Boricua, have you ever really listened to the rain, the magic? El Yunque, sagrada oración de la lluvia, corazón de la tierra, pesadilla de los Yankees. Listen, Boricua, listen to the rain. El Yunque is a fertility dance. It's Borinquen's poem of power. Don Pedro, Doña Lolita, Don Juan Antonio tried to make you hear it. They tried to make you feel strong enough to live for a tree and maybe even die to be free. Did you hear them? The magic. El Yunque, sombra de anhelos escondidos, el renacimiento del sueño borincano. Listen, Boricua. Listen to the rain. Listen. Let her whisper. Let her whisper in your ears. Let her shower with pride. Let her overwhelm you with her beauty. Let her lead you to the magic. El Yunque is nature's declaration of independence. Let the rhythm of the rain burn like fire in your blood. Have you ever really stopped and listened to the rain? Listen, Boricua. Listen to the rain, Boricua. Ay, la música del música sagrada de la lluvia en mi borinquen. Listen, Boricua, listen, 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 listen. This next one is a poem I wrote for a dear friend, a hero of mine. There's a lot, we haven't been the only people who've been stepped on and invisibilized. There are a lot of really super great Native American musicians that play all kinds of music. And you don't know about them here, but like Jim Pepper, and like you go to Europe or Canada or Japan, his name is like, everybody knows his name. If you go on the web, look up Jim Pepper, you're gonna get mind blown. In New York, when he would open a show, he would play in New York. Every musician in town, Pharoah Sanders, Train, everybody would be there. And Jim would always open every set with a 45-minute thing where he just blow it on out. An amazing musician, I wrote this for him, it's called The Pepperization of the World of Music, because he asked me one time, what did I call his music? Because he made his music was a combination of art jazz and Native American traditional music. And I said, I call it pepperization. He used to get mad. But then after a while, he started calling it the same thing. So this is the pepperization of the world of music inspired by Jim Pepper. Core and Creek shamans sang through your, once again, let me back up. Core and Creek shamans sang through your horn, healed through your songs, melodic medicine man. You were the much needed living example of the flamboyant, no holds barred proof of an indigenous spirit that refused to disappear. A harmonic healer that wouldn't go away, a mesmerizing dealer of salvation who carried our medicine in your saxophone case. You cured the world's madness, the technological suffocation of us with the organic word spells you sang. Your music forced us to look at life through your eyes, live the joy, the pain, the pride, and the shame of proud nations. Nations this nation has tried to but failed to erase. You made us feel the humiliating degradation of unending forced migrations, bitter lessons in the name of civilization by the uncivilized. Every single time you put that saxophone in your mouth, Jim. You built musical mountains on every stage you graced with the regal gymnastic agility of an eagle in flight. You faced it all, tap dancing, slump dancing, fancy dancing. You pepperized the arrogance of ethnocentric madness. Put a little Mother Nature spice in the bland musical stew and flew us into your euphoria. Your never-ending powwow, your musical world where we all came together and feasted on peace and respect, fried bread and corn soup peppered to perfection, Jim. The eagle that is you did not stop flying or find a hiding place or go to sleep the day you laid down your horn. We picked it up and we're still here with you alive in our bones, singing your praises. Look at what you've done, cuz we've been pepperized. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up and dance for us, Jim Pepper. You are our inspiration, our eternal dancing eagle. And with your help, we will keep your power alive forever. Get up, get up, get up, Jim. Get up and dance with us, Jim. We need you now. We need the creativity, your integrity, the integrity of your medicine, your music. We need you to Wichita-to us into Nirvana. We need your musical magic to help us heal the world, to rejuvenate our souls so we can continue to sing your songs and pepperize the universe with the magnificent indigenous power of you, the intense sacred beauty of you, your world, your music, Aho. Life deals us some crazy things sometimes, and this was a mind blower. I ran into this on the way to a poetry. It's called Madness on MacArthur. And those of you who live in Oakland will know this corner. It's a very sad place. It's called Madness on MacArthur. It was just a gas station and I needed some gas. It was a weird scene. Looked like there were more bicycles than cars riding around the gas pumps. There was something sleazy about the place, but I thought, oh, well, what the hell? I'm just going to get my gas and get out of here. I had no idea I had just driven into Nightmare Alley. I thought I'd seen everything, thought nothing could surprise me. But pimps on bicycles that were as old as they were, no way. These jokers had taken the low life to a whole new level. I couldn't believe the shit. Broken down bicycle riding pimps, middle-aged washed up wannabes, and a few young understudies. Suckers so played out they couldn't even catch a cold in a snowstorm. I thought it was some kind of joke, some kind of male menopausal ritual. Knew they were just selling wolf tickets and gorilla chips, talking trash out the side of their necks. Knew the crap coming out of their mouths couldn't be the real deal. Bicycle riding pimps in filthy clothes with mouths full of gold. How low can you go? And they had the nerve to be proud about it and jump bad and be loud about it. Bragging about riding the Ave, checking on their big-time moneymakers. Almost choked to death, trying not to fall out laughing until I noticed all the action on the corner, and I choked as my laughter drowned in my tears, as my eyes fell on these two little girls strutting the whole stroll like it was the only home they'd ever known. Two little girls younger than my grandsons wearing these frontless, backless, bottomless, topless evening straps. And I wondered, why were these two pretty little girls risk their lives and walk the chilly streets half naked in the middle of the night, selling themselves to no-count tricks old enough to be their father, throwing away their childhood life for some bike riding Casanovas who are old enough to be their father? Or maybe they just lost their way without out there looking for their fathers. Have you seen them? I think we better start looking for him before all his kids wind up even more lost than he is. Okay, how am I doing on time? I have no idea. How many more minutes?
Still got a few more minutes, so you're good.
A few more, let's say a few more. So let me cut down on some of this. Okay, a few more. Okay, do I have 2 or 3 poems? What can I do? Okay, thank you. This is called Daughters of the Drum. Every year there's a big women's drum festival and called Born to Drum, and I wrote this for it. We were born to drum. Somos rítmicas. We were conceived in rhythm, whether we knew it or not, or wanted it or not. It was and has always been about upholding la clave en el alma, the beauty and sanctity of the rhythm that created us, the rhythm that is us. Somos el latido de la naturaleza, the rhythm of our mother's labor pains announced our coming. And it's always the rhythm of our breathing that lets the world know we're alive. Míralo. Bellas fuerzas místicas pero picosas. Feel it. We walk and sing, pray, dance, and cry in it. Every single word that flows out of our mouths is a rhythmic declaration of our presence. Somos la esencia de la bomba, and even our sacred Mother Nature dances rhythmically through the seasons every single year, keeping the rhythm of our lives in balance. Our universe is an inescapable symphony. Ritmos sagrados held together by vibration, by the sound of the sum of us, the always right on time, magical, rhythmical timelessness of us. Somos la fiebre apasionada de la rumba, the heart of bebop and kubop was born in us, is creation's gift to us. Somos el corazón del tambor, born in the womb of creativity, an undeniable rhythm personified. Wake up, world, Mirano. Listen, we are your children, and we were born to drum. Okay, so I got 3 poems, so let me see what I'm going to do here. Okay, this was called Too Proud to Sing the Blues. Back home in New York is many things, and one of the things that I'm very grateful is some music haven, and all kinds of music. I'm from the part of we have folks from the Caribbean, you have folks straight out the Deep South, which is the worst part of Harlem, where you have the folks from the Caribbean and the Deep South, but I learned so much about so many kinds of music and fell in love with the blues. So it blew my mind when I came to California and went to my first blues place to see James Cotton, who would have had people lined up around the block to see him, black folks. And there were 7 of us in the place, 3 of whom came with me. It blew my mind. So I wrote it's called Too Proud to Sing the Blues. Now I know there's nobody in this audience who would fall in this category. If one of you is hiding somewhere, I dedicate this to you. You say you're ashamed of the blues? You got a lot of nerve. Would you throw away your own feet that walked all the way through all this hell so you could lift up your big head and look straight in the eye of freedom, feet that walked through hell just so you could say, oh, well, now is now and that was then and today ain't nothing but a party? Don't need or want no blues or memories of way back when, days when we didn't even have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out, much less a guitar to play on. And you got the nerve to be ashamed? Ashamed of what? Ashamed of your own granddaddy who never did nothing, just pick cotton from Kansas to Kansas, pick cotton till his hands would bleed, pick cotton till he was weak in the knees, pick all that damn cotton just so you could eat. Folks say he walked all the way from Mississippi just so you could read. Then you turn around and deny his country behind ever existed and say you're too proud to sing the blues. And now you say you're too well educated to sing the blues, too ashamed to admit your grandma couldn't read. Only good enough to breed, wasn't nothing but a roots doctor, never went to school, never had the time, just another cotton picker. Some kind of juju doctor who talked to the trees, so old-timey she would sing to the rain and knew the name of every root and plant and flower in the state of Arkansas, but she wasn't nobody. Just somebody who was strong enough to make you feel free enough to be fool enough to be nobody. And now you have the nerve to say you're too proud to sing the blues, but for where I'm sitting, looks like you haven't paid enough and still don't have a clue. In spite of all the education, you're still just one more ignorant, unworthy fool, ashamed of all the dues it took to sing the blues. Okay, so the last one that I guess I'm going to, oh God, this is the worst of me trying to figure this out. I guess, let me go here, another one from my book. It's called Street Children of the Night, and it's in Spanglish. As a musician, I've been a musician ever since I was a kid, and And no matter where you're at, I don't care if you're in Oakland, you're in New York, you're in Europe, or where, you know, there's always some corner where you see these street kids, 9, 10, 11 kids out, they're out 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. And when you come home like me and you're, you know, older than dirt, and you have all these instruments, that makes you a walking target. And I knew that I needed to write these kids a love poem to win them over, or else I was going to be the lunch meat on their sandwich, and they would be selling my instruments for God knows what. So I did write them a love poem, and it worked. And I'm going to say this real quick here since I'm running out of time. They taught me something amazing. These street kids are really well organized, and the poem wound up being in street newspapers all over the Bay Area. It wound up, you know, there's kids from streets, what do they call it? The youth speak kids were doing it. I got off the bar downtown San Francisco, and about a month after I wrote the poem, and this little chubby, cute Chinese girl ran up to me and threw arms around me calling, "Grandma!" And I thought she had lost her mind until she blew my mind. She memorized, this poem is in English, Spanish, and Spanglish. She knew every word in the poem. I wrote it, and I still have not memorized it. And she said to me, "Thank you. Nobody ever talks to us. You need to start talking to these babies. They're not out in the streets because they like being in the streets. Something horrible has happened. Nobody hangs out in the streets no matter what it is, rain or shine, there's something going on. And these babies, you don't have to take them home, but you at least say hello." So this is for them, and this is to remind us. It's called Street Children of the Night, para los chiquititos de la noche en cualquier lugar. Black and brown children of the night que ya no saben nada de jugar. Mis niñitos de la calle, queridos modernitos whose ideas of having fun got swallowed by the darkness. If I could, I would wrap you in sunshine. I would hold you close and fold you in these arms and caress whatever's left of the child in you with lullabies. I would like to cover every injured inch of you with home-cooked self-esteem and bet that the sales bacantes. I want to fill the hole that hurt dug. Take my hand, and I swim defiantly through the fires of hell for you and with you through the movement of disrespect. I'm a hard-headed kind of lady, and I just can't see myself giving up on you. Somos lo que somos, you and I, para nosotros, somos todo lo que hay. We've been fused together by history, por lo bonito y los sueños robados, lot spiritually in the maze of our destiny. Oye, mis negritos, mis pequeños callejeros, los necesito. The truth is, I know I need you. Y yo sin ti soy nada. And if I had a chance, I'd refuse to turn you loose till you are so in love with yourself that self-destruction would disintegrate under the pressure of your presence. And you were so secure in my love for you and so sure of the splendor you had become that even the sun would lay aside its arrogance just to get a chance to reflect the brilliance of your essence and bask in the bold truth of your integrity. En ti, vive la verdad real y yo sin ti no existe ni un sendero de la esperanza. Oh, say, can they see you? My beautiful wild lotus flowers, if I could, I'd bathe you in a sea of rose water. I'd convert your waves of pain into an ocean of pride and faith. Y yo te pido, dame un chance. Please, please, please let me in. I promise to do the very best I can, even if I have to wake the dead and conjure up our ancestors' breath. I'm not too proud to act a fool, get down on my knees and holler and scream and beg all the spirits of goodness to intervene, to blow away the fog of dismay and distrust, para santificar the lágrimas and dissipate the rage burning behind your eyes. So together, I say together we could wash away the centuries of emasculating doubts and defeminizing lies and have a little fun and learn to play a brand new game called Demolishing Walls of Self-Hate. Children of the night, mis niñitos de la calle, I want the stubbornness of my love to help you turn on all the lights inside your soul. Tú eres mi sangre. I will not allow the streets of Eddie City to steal you. You like a lotus blossoming in the night, mis queriditas, alma de mi existencia. I will not let the cesspool of Fulinga make a fast food happy meal of your dream. Chiquito de la esquina, you are our only wealth. You are the most beautiful part of me, and I'm not about to let you go. I will not permit the hungry stupidity or greed to feed you to the streets without putting up a fight. Amorcito perdido de la noche. If I could, I would pave your path with stardust and massage your mind with a steady diet of just how important you are. Make sure you know you're too damn important. Let the world just throw you away. It's my job to remind you on a daily basis this crazy old lady is here to stay. I say I'm still here. Staying and praying and praying and staying and praying and praying and praying and praying. You let me in, mi cielito negritito de la noche. I'm talking to you. Can you even hear me? It's all tomorrows that you're throwing away. Queridos niñitos de la calle, I'm still waiting, a stubborn old lady with a heart full of love, standing in the shadows and waiting on who you could be, waiting for you to finally see me, waiting to wrap you in a blanket of sunshine. I want to thank you for your ears. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Nia, thank you for having me, and thank you for putting this thing together. And what can I say? Wow. Anyway, thanks.
Avotcja, thank you so, so much for your poetry, your history, your wisdom. I think all of us have been entirely transported throughout that set. I know I've been taken to so many other places, and the rhythms, the movement in your words is absolutely incredible. So thank you. And I feel so fortunate to be sharing this space with you. I think all of us could probably do a whole night, a whole part 2 of just hearing your poetry. And so I'm so grateful that you've been coming to this series and sharing in this space.
Can I tell folks to look into Zoom and come to our poetry series, the longest running multilingual poetry series in Northern California. So please come out, and it's this Saturday, and open mic, there's only 10 open mic spots because we have 4 features, and so you got to get there early.
Wonderful. Yes, I was about to ask you, please share out any upcoming events. I just put your website in the chat for everyone. If there's any other ways that people can find out about your events, please share it either out loud or in the chat. Just, I know everyone wants to continue to support. Ooh, this has just been such an uplifting event. I know I went into this like in a different state of mind of just the heaviness of these days. And so I truly feel like this has uplifted my spirits entirely. So I want to thank all of the folks who have read so far. We have a whole second half of our open mic readers, which I'm so excited for. So I'm going to put the upcoming readers and artists in the chat right now, just so you know a little ahead of time if your name's coming up. And with that, I would like to invite Clérida Eltimé up to the mic. I know you performed before, and so I'm so happy to have you back. Thank you.
Hi guys, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. It's pretty late over here in New York. It's like 10:30. I just wanted to express my gratitude for everyone sharing their hearts and their beautiful words tonight, and especially at such this interesting time that we find ourselves in. So I have a couple notes to play for you guys on my cello in the dark. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you. I came home shrouded in misery, trying to confess my broken dreams. I and confessed my fears and dreams. She held me and sang to me. She told me you're blessed. Ooh, close your eyes, darling, forget the rest. Baby, you're blessed, 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 nothing less. Baby, you're blessed, blessed, blessed. Ooh. Dabba-dabba-dee, yabba-dee, 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 yabba-dee. I came home, washed my mother's feet, cried and confessed my fears and dreams. She held me and sang to me. She told me you're blessed, 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 nothing less. Baby, you're blessed, 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 forget the rest. Baby, you're blessed, blessed, blessed. Baby, you're blessed, blessed, blessed. I came home, washed my mother's feet. Thank you for listening.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for sharing your music.
Of course.
Wow.
Thank you.
I remember the first time you played, I was crying tears of joy on this open mic.
Aw, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great night. Take care.
Next up, wow, okay. That was incredible. Next up to the mic, I would like to invite Yeva Johnson. Welcome, Yeva.
Thank you, Nia. That was so wonderful. I'm gonna do, I have short poems today, and so I'm gonna do 3 short poems with a little music before and after. I was gonna do 2, but they were too depressing, and then I put a little better one at the end. Okay. Particulate pretzel days. She anticipates the cough to come should the skies continue to clear. Her beaten down cilia will upright themselves and begin their dance to clean out the defiled lungs. There's work to be done after a month of fires, so much soot in her body. The house cleaning will generate phlegm for days. When the coughing finally begins, will her mandated workplace job let her in? Her pandemic fears assuaged by her body's path to repair, she can return to her SARS-CoV-2 fears. Insomnia's cauldron of creativity. Tonight, when I can't sleep, I'll write down the poem that always comes to me sometime between 2 and 3. I'll wake in the morning, hopefully refreshed, with a new verse to greet me. Greet me, instead of stewing in this brew of loss and longing for the intangible, because I was too tired last night to take out the pen and little notebook on my nightstand and just oozed back to dreams. The last poem is called A Fluttering New Thing. Distracted by a sky eye turned to the ground, she makes me forget myself. We talk and walk and talk and walk, and the world disappears. We are lost in the newness of connection, 2 unicorns, shy yet. My heart aches after we depart, an awkward hug, bump, chaste embrace, cleavage before goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yeva. It's always a treat hearing your words and your music. That was a wonderful pairing. Next up, I would like to invite Norm Mattox. Welcome, Norm.
Hi, good evening from New York. I have 2 pieces. First one is called Mea Culpa. Will you ever treat me like a prodigal son, glad to see me after a long time away? Will the memory be made fresh, the bitter taste of last words waiting to be repeated? Or will it always be go back to where you came from, though I am born here? If I am from a country you cannot name, and I name myself Earthling, will you call me Black Earthling? Or will you deny Earth exists just to treat me like an alien? This other piece is, I'm playing with it in the order of these images that are, the title is, In the Shadow of Me. It will appear I am standing on a pedestal. I am balancing on a mountain of shoulders surrounded by a village of my ancestors. Each one plays their rib cage like a tambor. My lips read notes played on my windpipe. The reverb feedback loop creates a chorus of voices reciting my life like a mantra. An uprooted life returning to roots nourished by Gaia Mundo, calibrating the river's channel flow, feeding my tree of life all the xylem and phloem my branches require to sustain a full canopy. Chunks of soul broiled in molasses and bitter herbs, over time a sancocho of reheated swill, served as exotic with an otherworldly sazon. A vision of hope, shredded beyond recognition, another martyr recycled into the ancestor bin, a broth of tears mixed with bones and ashes, simmered in gravy over a low flame for generations. A shape with edges tattered by an expanding dream, filling with potent promise, a vessel deflating like a balloon, heaven escaping through multiple gunshot wounds, no last words whispered, no last rites given. A silhouette of every Black man fitting the description that has been stopped, frisked, questioned, and murdered by accident. Perforated surfaces mistaken for pores, bullet holes too many to count. All they saw was shade, hiding behind a mirage. They thought I had a gun, reaching for a loaded comb to blow my brains out. A halo of light surrounding me, blocking the vision of their greatest fear. They thought they saw. Peace.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your words, Norm. It's always wonderful hearing you, and the fact that we can be in the same virtual space every time makes me really happy. Next up, I would like to invite Shawna Sherman. Welcome up to the mic.
Thank you, Nia. So great to be here. Such a great space. So I'm working on poems having to do with runaway slave advertisements and the fugitivity of the state of Blackness, and they're more escapist poems. So here it goes. Reading by the Plum Tree. Two birds and a bumblebee pass through her airspace near a plum tree and includes crown of oak. The oak's acorns brought hundreds of crows to its branches one day, small plums dropping from the tree, sour. When they refer to back parts, they usually mean black parts. Why a pipe tattoo on your left thigh? It's not a tattoo, it's a burn. The subscriber paid 25 cents for the ad in the paper. As she walked uphill, her body inclined toward the sidewalk. The top side of a leaf shiny, its bottom matte, 4 varieties of birds seen in a 5-minute contemplation. She named a hole in the dirt an ulcer, a mound a wart. Mild conditions, mild wind, mild heat, mild still. The creeper walks a branch, circles the trunk, the branch committing to hold the nest of a squirrel. A sign cautioned walkers, beware of bird eggs. 3 weeks ago, the plums on the tree green and small. Put your fingers on the leaf scale, rub, feel its ribs. He mentioned his intentions to prune the plum come fall. He supposed pruning would help growth, its leaves already brown. He looked forward to buying a ladder. Artillery planted beneath the oak. They studied cultivation near the neighbor's apples. He bought fertilizer at a local nursery specializing in natives. Nan stooped when she stood, her main occupation tending rows. The estate was famous for its apple groves, its picking days. Advice: the branch with green leaves sprouting is alive. A girl once took a boy on a camping trip in a fig grove. It was a gay day when her job allowed for summer Fridays off. The boy proved handy in pitching a tent. Now the duty is his, though the girl has skills. They sometimes bring a canoe on trips. The hinder part of these vacations bring about tensions. Now he front of her as a hoe against a shed. Are we truly alone if there are creatures about us? It is a question he only lately asked, being off the job 90 days. There's been much talk lately of pigeons, of crows, of common birds. In the cake competition, they used red gumballs as bumps for dinosaur skin. The young apples are showing red by the afternoon sun. Suppose my dad a sailor in antebellum time. Is that a boat, Negro? He built a boat, didn't he? Yeah, he also built a treehouse. Puffy sleeves. Because the pimples quantity dozens covering her face and down the middle of her back, people of all ages tongued harsh words at this 12-year-old, called them warts. No surprise she's in a hurry to go, in flight for self. Plus, she's heard of the Barbary Coast and dresses, sleeves of silk proportioned in the latest style, heard mention the goose feather employed in the handsome puffy arm, then sewed it, adding chintz for extra shine. The gown shielded her from suspicion in the master's artful garden, a promenade people with statues of 20 saints and stout animal figures, a cow, a lion, snails. There was a pail in the corner, sometimes lowered into the well in the lonely part of the space near a pendulum trumpet tree. It was there she hid her ticket. She'd learned the ferry's schedule according to its habits and hurried tonight to catch the late run, after speaking one last time to the statuary, ending her soliloquy with, "Amen." Thank you. So glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Shawna. It's really fun getting to hear, I know this is a whole series you're working on, so getting to hear different parts of it each time you share, so thank you. Next up to the mic, I'd like to invite Yusef Salaam. Welcome.
You're still muted, brother man.
Are you here with us? Let's see. I can't seem to hear you. We can't hear your audio, Yusef. I can see that you're talking, but we can't seem to hear you. Let's see. Well, we'll come back to, I'll check in on you and see if you get the audio working. You can send me a message in the chat. For now, let's have Aqueila Lewis-Ross up to the mic. Welcome.
Hey everybody, how are you doing? Mama Avotcja, I'm so honored to know you. You know, my family adores you. You have really been amazing in our lives. My infant daughter, she didn't even know you, but she, you know how she embraced you right now. She's waking up, apologizing, you hear in the background. She's 3 now. I have a poem that I'm working on that I'll share with you hopefully sometime soon, Mama Avotcja. Thank you for being here. I have a couple of poems I'm going to share. One was written in response to Joyce E. Young. She was one of the features that I think maybe a couple of nights for this open mic. And she also was hosting, it's okay, Michaela. I think she's having a nightmare right now. It's okay, baby. Let's see, hold on, what I was saying. Mom, Joyce E. Young was also leading a workshop through Hedgebrook. And the topic was resilience, and I was stuck, but I finally got, okay, Michaela, I finally got it. Living resilience. Our dreams drink coffee with us as they put their arms around our children. They laugh with us at our poor falling down selves. And we put ourselves back together once again at the table. Joy Harjo. I've gotten used to drinking mocha. Never really, okay, Michaela. I've gotten used to drinking mocha. Never could stomach just plain coffee. The bitter taste doesn't do it for me. My grandmommy loved it though. One of last memories I have of her is waking up to the smell of coffee and watching her drink it, sitting at the dining room table in her bonnet and bathrobe with her legs crossed and a cigarette comfortably resting between her pointer and middle finger. I tried to forget the pain, the sadness, seeing how my grandmommy lost it all, seeing my mama running away, but still ran into the arms of drug users and abusers. I shy away from remembering it all because the pain is still there. If unchecked, the pain can ease into cells. With time, they fester into ulcer and even cancer. And I've noticed with time, if the wrong button is pushed, I could crack. Resilience means staying strong through the pain, struggles, valleys, mountains, and hills that I learned to climb. Determined to finish a task, I pushed through because I had to. I needed to see a dream manifest. The resilient gaze looks like the process of a flower beginning to bloom, or a caterpillar turning to a butterfly, or seeing my daughter learn to walk and talk and fall down and start again. Resilience means the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, toughness. To be honest, most recently, I don't feel tough, and I haven't learned to bounce back. How can you when racists continue to remind Blacks that they think they're ugly, worthless, not welcome to their world, but all I see is beauty? Resilience means having the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape, elasticity. These days, I haven't learned to fully bounce back and what hope really means without being fearful about something. I'm not sure anyone showed me or taught me about the meaning of resilience. Maybe my mom, but it always seems like she was in recovery. And I never saw my grandma at peace until I saw her face in her casket. Mama taught me to go to God, I guess, because she didn't really know how to handle her burdens. He saved her when she had no one. It was her way of escape. I participated, hold on. Group resilience means the solo work is a little easier to endure. You aren't the only one. Learning to be human begins and ends with a mouthful of emotions. I hate being identified as resilient because that says that I experienced many things. Would I even be relevant or noticed if I didn't? Until justice is served, my heart and mind remain restless. And I'm not laughing and still haven't learned to bounce back. Whew. The next one, y'all, is called Can You See Us? And it was recently published in this book called Colossus Home, an anthology of lives in and out of place. And it is an anthology that is a fundraiser for Moms for Housing. And these moms are leading us to the housing movement. So this poem has also been featured on Black Choreography Festival in February. And I think it's one of my favorite poems. I actually need you guys to help me out. It's kind of like a calm response and I can hear the voices. It's gonna be set the stage when we all can do this soon. Have some changes and sets and all that stuff. So I'm going to say, can you see us? And you guys are gonna unmute yourselves and you're gonna say, are we invisible to you? And we're gonna whisper this. Y'all got it? For those who got it, unmute yourselves and join me in this. Here we go. Can you see it? Oh wait, sorry, hold on. Can you see us? Are we invisible to you? Here I am with my sisters, and I hear their pain. They're forced, born in shame, slaves to failed systems, oppression, depression. This needless obsession must stop. Preyed on as fresh meat while on patrol, hands wrapped around necks, raping, harassing, beating. They are the survivors of a new Jim Crow. Can you see us?
Are we invisible to you?
Some women are killed just because. Chained to beds, forgotten and ignored. No one really knows how deep the layers of the unprotected. So they tell their babies to protect themselves because the pigs won't. Have you heard? The uniform code will soon break. They are the ones that are out of control. Can you see us? Are we invisible?
Are we invisible? Yeah.
standing in the gap with heads held high, pride in their stride, living on purpose. There's a new song to sing. Can you see us?
Are we invisible to you?
The strong will always survive. Even in death, justice will be served. Because we say their names, they are reborn. They are invisible no more. Thanks, y'all. Sending
Thank
prayers
you.
to all of those who are dealing with a lot, and keep me in your prayers as well, because days and nights are hard. God bless you, and thank you so much, Nia, for this opportunity. I love you, Mama Avotcja. I love all your mamas.
Thank you so much for the poetry, and for the interactive poetry is always fun, especially because I think it brings us back to that feeling that we're missing of being in the same space and actually getting to do that call and response and affirm each other's work. So thank you. Thank you for that piece and for the work and shouting out the work for Moms for Housing. So thank you. We have 4 more readers for this evening. This has just been an incredible night of such talent and such a range of music and poetry. So thank you to everyone who's shared so far. Next, we have Raymond Nat Turner. Welcome to the mic. Let's see, Raymond. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, great. We can hear you.
Okay, I've done this before, but because of the most dominant event at the moment, I'm going to do it again. I think it's apropos. I'm going to try and do 2 pieces. This is called For Breonna Taylor and My Bride. My daughter's name is Brianna Turner. Oh, I wish I could sing her name like Brother Ray or Reed, 'cause Breonna Taylor's like Brianna Turner to me. Oh, I wish I could sing her name like Abby, Nina, or Big Paul, celebrating the sunny June home birth I recall. I wish I could sing her name like Mahalia or Clara Ward, feeling my hand again cutting an umbilical cord. I wish I could sing her name like Sarah or Natalie Cole. But the recorder reminds me, that's not my role. I wish I could sing her name like Little Richard or Betty Wright, hearing Mingus's Haitian song, urging us to fight. I wish I could sing her name and other names, other towns, galvanizing Black folks and 50 million John Browns. And this other piece is called One for Augusta, a Bay Area artist that was tragically killed by a motorist as he was a pedestrian. Bluesman, we discovered you and the other 2, your bluesy crew at Pizza Pazza on Piedmont Avenue. We discovered you like the owner discovered you, like 10,000 others discovered you. We discovered something about the way you kept time, patting, stomping, sliding your foot like a Mississippi metronome. The way you drill down into midnight blue indigo, delta artesian wells, where spirit flows, crawl spaces, crevices, creases between the notes, deep, deep, bruised, scarred, sun house spaces only card-carrying members dare go, roads swollen with speed bumps, lumps, and quadrunkas. Swaying and rocking in our chairs, we discovered gargantuan talent of the Malanga tribe, Casper Banjo Michael Land lineage. We discovered Coffee Brown Josh White Honey Boy, African Elder Keb Mo Medicine Man, healing with strings attached to antidepressants called the blues. Blues man, we discovered you stealing away from the timely world of toms, snares, cymbals, fills, and rolls for your new world order of strings and things that sing through our thick cumulus clouds and acid rain, our demons, heartaches, and pain. Blues man, sometimes you got on my last goddamn nerve, pushing, ringing, tooting, speeding like you knew you needed to be seen and heard now in real time. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, next year. Blues man, I understand it takes one to know one. We all operate on the model of scarcity, of capitalist competition, competing serially for the same miniature audience. Bluesman, did you ask anyone to dig your grave with a silver spade? Did you get GPS from God? Does it show streets paved with gold? Can you hear blue angels singing? Let's close on this sweet note. Every time we steal away to Alameda Beach for precious seconds of solitude and close our eyes transfixed by rhythms of lapping, singing waves, then open our eyes, looking out to the horizon, we will think of you, bluesman, and smile, mirroring your sea blue sapphire spirit smile.
Thank you so much, Raymond. And as many people are saying, just the cadence, the pieces that you share. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you, Nia, for your work and organizing everything.
Absolutely. It's possible with everyone here. So. I'm going to invite back Yusef Salaam up to the mic. Welcome back.
Can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you. It's a little bit.
Can you hear me?
It's going in and out a little bit, but we can hear you this time.
Yeah, that's why. Okay, I just want to know, is that better? Because I got it right up to me. Is that better? Same?
It's a little bit better now. We can hear you.
All right, I'm going to try it. This piece is called Nevermore. And this is a response to collective trauma of the Holocaust of enslavement. Nevermore. Self sits in the Supreme Court of self. The indictment claims assault and theft. Self argues she doesn't have a clue. All lies, not a word true. Eyewitnesses swear on 3 holy books that self is a cold-blooded crook. My nose was so pretty and perfectly placed. Self-butcher didn't leave me a single trace. I had a marvelous wide shape like a pyramid. She sliced my top, sides, and lid. I am sick, always out of breath. Self-done about chopped me to death. Look at me, a circus freak, like a baboon with a beak. Thin as a straw, flawed and false. I'm tired, Judge. I need a pulse. My name is Hare. I'll tell the truth, I swear. Self said she hated me to her core, treated me like a crackhead whore. That woman burnt me with red hot combs, torched me to the base of my bones, said I was ugly, bitchy, nappy fur, that I shamed her. She smothered me with all sorts of wigs till I perished like parched twigs. No sunlight, so I couldn't grow, got patches of bald and lost my glow. That killer tormented me with toxic tints. I've lost my true color ever since. I've been painted more colors than a clown's dress, green, gray, garter, ringworm, red. Oh, what a mess. My name is Face, and I've suffered terrific trauma caused by self's disorder drama. She looks in the mirror and longs to be other, abhors my huge match to her dear mother. Her inner thoughts about my saber tan makes me want to bury under sand. Self is so melancholic, melaphobic, she'd rather be dead than eat a slice of whole wheat bread. Parasite queens promise to show self the light to baptize me away, an abysmal blight. The plight will lead to facicide. Her anxiety attack signs can no longer hide. Bleach splashed on my skin for her adore. Blotches of blemishes galore. Murderer, charge her murder, I implore. Before I'm here, nevermore. Can I do one more?
Do you have one short one to share with us?
No, I better hold that one. This is a long one. I'll just cancel that one, okay?
For next time, I'll put you in the lineup for that next poem. I want to get to our
All right,
last.
thank you.
But thank you. I'm so glad that we were able to hear that piece. So thank you.
Yeah, I got to correct that sometime or another. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite DeMareon Gipson up to the mic.
Can everybody hear me? Cool. So I know we're going a little bit over time, so I want to be kind of, so yeah, I'm gonna get into a poem real quick. It's called Three Gorges. It's about respectability politics. I feel like, yeah, you know, it's counterproductive to liberation, and yeah, so so now respectability is a sedative for fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of the other, fear of the ungovernable. Is respect a worthy desire if it comes at the expense of anomalous qualities? Does it mean more than the perspective wielded when experiencing the world's stimuli? My irides tell distinct stories, absorbing light from opaque circumstance. A triumphant view diminished for failing to match your fixations. My ears collect patterns, wavelengths that rhyme or declared unsound for differing from the popular cadence. My tongue unfastens archways between ancestors and I. The scent of ancestral cooking soothes a home filled with trauma, a matriarch's touch from the other side, caressing me in preparation for a world that does not love me. I assemble the elements of my surroundings to form my sensory palette, a noted contrast between widely used wooden slabs, yet still my temperament is felt when met with the paintbrush. I have stood before institutions for years, catching brief glimpses of interior arrangements, knowledge extracted from a foremother's bosom, recited in colonist language, framed in colonist decor, and referred to as academia. A disparaging gaze in my direction lessens each glimpse. A century man informs the world that he doesn't enjoy my expression. It is too loud, too disruptive, too bold. His eyes attempt to invalidate me, but they never have been and never will be the license with which I base my expression. In a world consisting of plethoric truths, is respect the reducing instrument for our collective interpreting of stimuli? Is respect what makes the century man deem himself more valid than me? Does respect diminish the impact of does respect diminish the impact of my ancestral lineage on institutions, the backs upon which you stood resting, ounces of exploited labor, sun-dried on a farmstead and box-like in appearance when erecting buildings? Will respect remedy the inscribing of laws over primordial tablets, the pristine body, a fluid source from which the true self is discovered, obstructed by the pen of a martinet? A dam is formed without permission to build it. If to be respectable is to engage in self-mutilation, contorting each limb to fit the century man's garb, then I don't want respect. In the absence of free expression, respect waves its banner. With brush and palette, I grant myself access to a realm more divine than anything beyond those walls. Impermissible doors are no longer daunting because I've discovered that I am the true entry path. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that piece. That was great.
And thank you for facilitating this. This is really, really cool.
Thank you. I'm glad it came to this mic. Next up, we have Sarai Bordeaux. Welcome, Sarai.
Hi, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? I just want to say also, like, in addition, thanks and like lots of gratitude for the space and just for holding it. I just want to like call in and give hella space to like conflicting feelings that are happening right now, just with relation to everything like going on. So this, like these poems, I think kind of speak to that. One was written before we knew that none of the officers would be charged in Breonna Taylor's murder, and one was written after. So just a content warning for people on that. And there's an epigraph for this one from Christopher John Rogers, who's a designer. If we are expecting Black excellence, we can no longer accept white mediocrity. Christopher James Rogers. I'm most of the way through the Vanity Fair with Breonna Taylor on the cover. It came the day the settlement news came. I both hugged this magazine tight and cringed, audibly sighed, wondered if this beautiful portrait was comforting friend or trending foe. This is not the representation of Black women we were hoping for, but look, here we are. September Vanity Fair is Black. It's real Black, and I'm comforted. Though haunting the stories from Mississippi, the lizards too, I'm fine, new moon, it won't leave me that this representation has come at the hands of so much murder. Tired of this pedestal. But when you think about it, the response to freedom, well, emancipation was Jim Crow. This is part of the 500+ year death rattle. Heaviness strikes, it occurs close to death. My fuck shit meter needs recalibration. So in response to having to do this job so often, I recalibrate, gauge. Have I spent too much time caring for myself today? No. I turn the page and am confirmed. Black excellence requires Black time, needs Black space, needs not to be excellent all the time, still couldn't touch white mediocrity that is in a white school class of its own, need Black money to dip a toe into the pool of reconciliation, ice cold waters of run me my money, this some perks. This isn't Brown versus Board, deliberate speed won't do. I'm talking about diversity and inclusion too. Don't be fooled. I'm not saying don't get all the money, please do, but realize what you are getting yourself into. Have a plan, some non-negotiables. Keep a hobby let them squirm. I feel all of this creativity creating space in my body, making connections in my mind as I turn the page. I like magazines that it takes more than one pass to get through. I straighten my back. I like my lessons like that too. I got the whole year of Vanity Fair, which reminds me I gotta cancel my subscription. I have a year to do so, but who knows what even tomorrow brings. As much as I want to think this magazine can be this Black on the regular, I am not paying $29 to find out. Can't expect a rise from mediocrity straight away. I think about this lesson all the time, how this lesson keeps happening to me all the time. Like, I'm only on the third lesson of life, but this is like the 13th time that I've tried to make myself a safe place to come home to. When will America be a safe place for Black women to come home to? Working through curses, but this lesson is the charm. And I, like the jewel Brianna, like this blue, deep breath, I wish I could count on every issue to be like this. And the second one. Now, there has been another decision about things bigger than unjust procedure. None of Breonna Taylor's murderers will be charged. Even charged, why aren't they ever charged? Something about having to undo the reason our current system exists. This is for another poem about Breonna, though. There could be a million poems about Breonna, though. When I heard the news, my physical body shrunk. Wanton endangerment, a declaration of war again, of genocide again, a life, a Black life, her Black life, stolen again, disrespected in similar states, white rights, handed down in blackface, a Black face, her beautiful face, like any of ours, Breonna girl, I'm sorry. What would you have me do to avenge you now? How would you have us set this fire? In which place should we start the disinfecting? Which part of myself needs an honest look? The ability to do that looking feels exhausting now. The loss of control, excruciating. You see, for me, my anxiety boils down to fairness and control, which is to say, the scream throughout my mind today has to do with recourse. Which course am I meant to take? This is also part of the exhaustion. Brianna, what was your favorite way to rest? I hope you are getting that now. Having nowhere to be, and then after taking no one to take responsibility, the blatant nature of it all, the racist nature of it all, I tingle with logical rage. Rage that we still need to cite in academic research, rage that the law changes to have me sustain a quiet one. One I curl up with at night and wake with in the morning. I ritual with her, this rage, laughing or crying or both. I sit silent with her. I feel her growing, unfurling under my skin like a lace layer, sensitive, seductive. This rage drips, calls me in like a siren, scares me like a siren, realizing you were another first responder torn. All of us first responders now in this collective panic, not of trending solidarity. This is the cortisol that lasts, lingers in future experiences. They did it again. And by they, I mean this system, and I am a part of this system, meaning I did it again. We let it happen again. By we, I mean those glittering Black and still not sure what to do. Well-meaning, but still confused on that meaning. So missing the mark, Brianna, more should have been done for you. I keep going back to the magazine cover. Angry but not apologizing for being a little bit hopeful. Not hopeful like still trying to fit in, but hopeful like after you give God something, they have it, like you can't worry about it anymore. That defeats the purpose. That's what my neighbor said. I trust his judgment, not on everything, but this. Brianna, don't let us fall back on this. Help us choose our lane on this. There is one for everybody, and it's okay to change them if you're safe about it. Brianna, we will do better for you. We have to do better than asking Black people what are they gonna tell their kids, as if white people don't have a reason to speak to their kids too. Better than giving up on our self-care and helplessness. Better than trying to keep classrooms the same racist shit in a new virtual space. Our rituals, even parts of them, when you can, they are portals. Walk into them, a different dimension, come back softer. We are better than refusing softness. I won't ever again. I am soft tonight. Remember what happened. I give it space, taking up space. We want a safe space. Brianna, where is the dimension this doesn't happen? Brianna, lead us toward a space where this doesn't happen. Help us to still even be able to imagine a space where this doesn't happen. We're ready to emerge after we burn it down. Ready. Help us emerge past these first few layers. Brianna, I wake up still soft, bruised physically, spiritually, mentally. There will be no bow here, but I'm smiling, realizing that there are more than a few ways to light a match.
Wow, thank you so much.
Yes. Yes.
Thanks for listening.
Yes, Sarai.
Like all of the feelings, the conflicting
Yes.
that you said.
Yes.
Rose in that poem, and I know everyone was saying the portals that you took us through with those words. Thank you. I think it's been very hard to sit with this news, and so thank you for encompassing some of those feelings in your writing.
Thank you so much, Sarai.
And with that, to close us, we have the wonderful Tureeda Mikell. Can you take us home?
I'm going to, there's so much that we're going through today. I woke up nauseated, just nausea. It was, and then, you know, you watch the younger people go through the same thing that we've gone through when we had names in our generation that we kept seeing. You know, I mean, you could look at things from Richard Pryor in '77, talking about the same thing. Entitlement rules condemns visceral tenet, fence bars existence. Haiku. It said, my people have intuition, an unconscious ambition. The meaning of intuition is inner guard, but honey, times have changed, and so have the guards. Many of our people are diseased, afflicted, and insane, and many will point the finger at who's to blame, but face it. We had to play another culture's game, and splicing mental psychological genes has been the reign. I remember a quote from my biology book, and from it, this is what I took. These genetic factors, and there may not be so many in number, define our intellectual and conceptual limits. So I propose that through phylogenetic studies and studies of rare genetic human variants, we can learn much concerning the basic cerebral components in preparation for the day when we wish to begin to move back their limits, back their limits, back our limits. We gather in their universities with open minds. We seek to gain, not knowing, and the learning that's given an unconscious pain, pushing back our limits. We've lost many fruits, we've lost many lives. Some say generations of our youth teaching us, don't use your first mind, don't be a simpleton, use your head, analyze, forget intuition, forget who you are. Many of us bought it, no longer use first thought. Tuition for intuition, their guard, we bought. Now we're in a prison. Many of us are barred from an unconscious division within ourselves and who we are. They taught us English and English in our mind, whipping our brains and kicking our behinds, telling us it's foreign intelligence they see and how badly we needed to get their degree, knowing all they teach is not the truth because they lied, stole it, and twisted it after they got it from our ancestral roots. The Africans of Mali know of the star Sirius. It's actually called Isis. The Egyptians are Africans who built the pyramids. Mathematics, astronomy, medicine, they sought in our culture. We knew things they did not. How to live with the earth, knowing seasons of the sun, respecting when planting and harvesting had to be done. I remember a quote from Moon 2 about an old Mwenge woman who can neither read nor write, but she could see through. Yes, she could see clear through. She looked at the white man and said, people are disarmingly naive. He dared to reply, have you, like us, been able to create so many marvels that excel the imagination? And the old woman looked at him with a pitying smile and replied, listen, my child, with all that, you have learned nothing. You have no intelligence. You understand nothing. We know all about the center of the care of the earth, the sun being the giver of life. In this universe, thousands of years ago, we knew many universal truths. Scientists today cannot refute, but they continue to teach, double think and speak to open minds and hope you won't see it to trip you up in their time. Speaking from the throat and not from the head, hoping your eye is asleep and in their dream instead. Know this culture is very slow and naive, and all they say is not so. You cannot believe them. They don't do things well. Move with such haste. Water polluted, toxic waste, ozone layer destroyed, melting Arctic cap, and waiting to watch the 6 o'clock news. People talk about it as glamorous paranoids. It's all so vicious with no respect for life, no respect for earth, no respect for the human rights. All because of the changing of the guards, barring us from our inner selves because the English grammar is a gram that is marred. It's a messed up measure of a guard. But it's said, however, our people have intuition, an unconscious ambition. Isheoluwa kule bajo. Habla de wone. Habla de wone. Habla de wone.
Thank you, Tureeda. Thank you for bringing us home on that note.
Habla de wone means I am royalty, and everyone says royalty is here. So
thank you
for believe in this life, in this earth, and the people that are here, and you believe in the love of children, just, you know, come on. Can we just have this happen?
Thank you. And I want to thank everyone. I feel so uplifted and just so close to everyone in this space tonight, even though I know we're all coming in from such different, distant places. I can feel that there is that sense of connectedness in this virtual space. Thank you to all thanks to everyone who shared in this, both in contributing your words and your wisdom, but also your presence and your support. And as I was saying earlier, these events can only happen if you come to this space and come share in it. And so I so appreciate the continued support that everyone has had in creating and really building this space up. And so for those of you who are new, this does happen every other week. It's a bi-monthly open mic that Moad hosts. Our next one will be on October 8th. And our feature is Jubi Ariola Headley, who I believe was here this evening in attendance, which is wonderful. So we're looking forward to that. I was gonna put the link to that event up so that you can all, if you're interested in attending again or reading, I just put the link to that event in the chat. We also do really value your feedback. Any and all comments are welcome, just so that we can know how to best serve all of our communities and our ever expanding audience. Elizabeth is so wonderful to put that in the chat for you all. This takes just a couple of minutes, but the impact of your feedback is enormous. So we appreciate that. And if you are able to financially support, that way of sustaining MOAD is also very, very helpful. So you're able to donate both through our website or with this information that's up on the screen by texting the number 56512 and typing in the word MOAD SF. You can also use your phone to take a picture of the QR code that will take you directly for the feedback survey. So we appreciate all of those ways that you can continue to support us and continue to amplify the work that MOAD does. Because again, all of our programming and this community that we're building, it all is because of you. And so we truly appreciate that. And I wanna thank everyone and enjoy the rest of your evening or morning, depending on where you're calling in from. And I hope to see you all at our next open mic. Thank you.
Thank you. Blessings flow.
Good night. Good night. Thank you so much again.
Yes, thank you,
Nia.
Elizabeth. This was a wonderful evening. Wonderful.
Amazing.
Honor to be here.
Gratitude, much gratitude.
Avotcja, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Avotcja was beautiful.
Beautiful reading. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody. Everybody was wonderful. And,
Everybody.
hit you on to what Nia said. I don't know how many of you have been lucky enough to go to the Museum of African Diaspora. Beautiful place, and we want to make sure it's there when this bastard pandemic goes away. So if you can support, any kind of way you can support, please do. And thank you for all that they do. And I'm so honored that I was able to be here tonight. Thank you.
Avotcja. We appreciate your continued support and the way that you continue to shout out the work that we're doing and the words and the wisdom you shared tonight. So we're so valued.